Good morning, class. In previous video, we had already discussed the Allport's trait theory, and now we start another category of trait approach, which is given by Raymond Cattell. Cattell believed that there is a common structure on which peoples are different from each other. These structures could be determined empirically, and he tried to identify the primary traits from a huge era of descriptive adjectives found in language. He applied a statistical technique called factor analysis. That's mean that Raymond Cattell, who believe a statistical technique which he used for drawing a primary traits or a prominent trait which he called source trait or surface trait. Now he find 16 primarily or source trait. So what is source trait? The source traits are stable and are considered as the building blocks of personality. And surface traits, there are also a number of traits which is known as surface trait. Surface traits that result out of the interaction of source trait. That's mean, take an example. For example, a person who is angry. So the anger is a surface trait which is outwardly seen by people, which is observable. And the source, maybe the anger is a reason for irritation or maybe fear. So this is the source trait, the fear or the frustration or irritation. So this is the source trait, and the anger which is outwardly seen is a surface trait. Okay. So Raymond Cattell given a personality questionnaire which is known as 16 personality factor questionnaire, which is shortly known as 16 PF. So this 16 PF is very popular for assessment of personality. This test is widely used by psychologists. This is very popular test. Now move to the next trait theory, which is Eysenck theory. H.J. Eysenck proposed that personality could be reduced into two broad dimensions. These are biologically and genetically based, and each dimension summates a number of specific traits. These dimensions are: first one is neuroticism versus emotionally stable, second one is psychotism versus sociability. That means Eysenck proposed the dimensions, the range, a scale which have two peak points and a range. This is proposed. So according to neuroticism versus emotional stability, what is the characteristic of these two qualities? It refers to the degree to which people have control over their feelings. That means this is the range of controlling over the feeling of a person. And one extreme of the dimension we find people who are neurotic. They are anxious, moody, touchy, restless, and quickly lose control. This is the one point of this dimension is extremely neurotic person who have the qualities of anxious, moody, touchy, and so on. And the other end extreme lie people who are calm, even tempered, reliable, and remain under control. That means there is a two peak or 2 point. Which point? One point is denote the neuroticism, which are very anxious personality, and second extreme point is known as emotionally stable, who control their feelings easily. Okay, they are calm and even temper peoples. The second classification. Another category of extraversion and introversion which is missing in this slide. It refers to the degree to which people are socially outgoing or socially withdrawal. That means one point which is show the extraversion. That means socially outgoing person, socially friendly person, and another point is show the socially withdrawal person, which is introversion. That means the one extreme are those who are active, courageous, impulsive, and thrill seeking. And at the other extreme are people who are passive, quiet, cautious, and reserved. And next classification is psychotism versus sociability. So, which is considered to interact with the other two dimensions mentioned above. A person who scored high on psychotism dimension tend to be hostile, ego-centered, and antisocial. And the other category is sociability, which are sociable person who is just opposite of psychotism. After his trait theory, he developed a questionnaire known as Eysenck Personality Questionnaire, which is also a very popular questionnaire and often used through psychologists for assessment of personality. After these two or three theories, Alport's theories, Cattell's theories, and Eysenck theories, the trait approach is very popular and many advances in this respect are taking place. These are beyond the scope of your present studies. A new formulation has also been advanced that provides a novel scheme of organizing traits. This new formulation is given in 5-factor model of personality. So now let's look at. This is a very latest version of trait theory known as 5-factor model of personality, or known as Big 5 factor. This model is given by Paul Costa and Robert McGray, and there is a 5 extreme points which is known as popular traits or big traits, and there is a range who is in high and low. So first one is neuroticism. In high range of neuroticism, the person is emotionally unstable, anxious, worried, fearful, distressed, and irritable or hypertensive. So these type of qualities of a person who is known as high on neuroticism, who scores high on neuroticism. And in low score of neuroticism, that means well adjusted, who is well adjusted in their society and their surrounding. Second one is extroversion. So in high score on extroversion, our qualities are socially active, assertive, outgoing, talkative, and fun loving. And the low range is shy and socially withdrawal. This type of characteristic are shown by a low score of extroversion. Next is openness to experience. Openness to experience, high score on this trait is imaginative, curious, open to new ideas, interested in cultural pursuits, and in low score they are rigid, not imaginative, rigid, and stereotype people. These are considered in low openness to experience. Now next one is agreeableness. So agreeableness high score, that means helpful people, cooperative, friendly, caring, nurturing. These are characteristic of high score on agreeableness trait, and low score shows hostile, self-centered. Next one is consciousness. So on consciousness, high score is achievement oriented, dependable, responsible, prudent, hardworking, and self-controlled. And on low version, they are impulsive, aggressive, less control to their emotions, to their expression of emotion. So this is all about the Big 5 factor theory. This theory is this test is very popular. Actually, this is a test. There is some questions and some options for answer, and according to the answer, you will get a score, a T score, and on this score, you will understand. So where you lay on the high score or you in low score. So I had already explained the characteristic of high score and low score. The very special thing of this test is this is culturally fair test. That means this test is found in so many languages and implement in all the culture and all the language. This is very popular and famous test. So this is all about the trade theory or trade approach. I hope you had understand the concept of type approach and trade approach. These two, trade approach and type approach, is very important for exam point of view. There are so many questions asking from this section of your chapter. Now move to the second topic, which is psychodynamic approach or psychodynamic theory. So our next very important or major approach of personality is psychodynamic approach. This is a highly popular approach to studying personality. This view owes largely to the contribution of Sigmund Freud. He was a physician. This is surprisingly known here कि he was not a psychologist, he is a physician, and developed this theory in the course of his clinical practice. Early in his career, he used a method of hypnosis. Hypnosis is a method which he used for treatment of his or her patients. And hypnosis to treat people with physical and emotional problems. He noted that many of his patients needed to talk about their problems, and having talked about them, they often felt better. And Freud used free association as a method. So there is a two type of method of given by Freud. First one is free association and dream analysis. So free association, that means when Freud used the method of hypnosis, he noticed the patients, after telling their problems, they feel very unburdened. So that's why he used the term free association. Free association meaning a method in which a person is asked to openly share all the thoughts, all the feelings and ideas that come to his or her mind. That means without any burden, without any hesitation, clearly communicate all your thoughts, all your problem, whatever comes in your conscious mind. So this is a very important technique. Second one is dream analysis. Dream analysis is a technique where analysis of error to understand the internal functioning of the mind. So basically Freud believe कि जो हम ड्रीम देखते हैं, दिस ड्रीम इज अ सिंबल ऑफ आवर अनफुलफिल्ड डिज़ायर एंड अनसेटिस्फैक्ट्री फीलिंग्स. तो इन सारी चीज़ों का एक रिप्रेजेंटेशन होता है थ्रू दी ड्रीम. सो ड्रीम इज़ अ ड्रीम एनालिसिस के थ्रू आपके इनर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, आपके साइकी की कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को अंडरस्टैंड करने को ट्राई करते हैं फ्रॉयड. सो द टेक्निक इज नोन एज साइकोडायनामिक. Psyche means your mind, your soul, and the dynamic refers to the changing forces. Okay, so the changing forces is known as dynamic. That's why the term he used psychodynamic. That means he want to assess the forces which is responsible for changing our psyche, which forces responsible for arising our problems. So he used some terms and classified their theory in so many terms. So first of all, level of consciousness. He gave the 3 levels of consciousness. So move to the Freud theory considered the sources and consequences of emotional conflicts and the way people deal with this. In doing so, it visualized the human mind in terms of 3 levels of consciousness. These levels are conscious, pre-conscious and unconscious. So what is conscious? Conscious something which is included the thoughts, feeling and action of which people are aware. That means awareness level which we know about. This is your conscious level. The second level is pre-conscious. Pre-conscious, that means which includes mental activity of which people may become aware only if they attend to it closely. That means with the effort, the things which he or she may be attend to the closely to the perfect learning. It may be come in your awareness level. This is your pre-conscious level. The last one is unconscious, which includes mental activity that people are unaware of it. Okay, so according to Freud, the unconscious is a receiver or instinctive or animal drives. It also stores all idea and wishes that are cancelled from conscious awareness. That means unconscious is a storage where our unfulfilled desire, unwanted needs and unwanted motives are stored, which things which are not able to come in our awareness level, which are suppressed and going into the unconscious level. So perhaps because they lead to psychological conflict. Why these feelings are suppressed? Because they lead to the psychological conflict. If these feelings are come in our conscious mind, they lead the problem. So it also store all idea and wishes that are cancelled from conscious awareness. So perhaps because they lead to psychological conflict. Most of these arise from sexual desire which cannot be expressed openly for the reason of social norms and therefore are repressed. That's mean our sexual desire which can be not fulfilled due to the societal norms. These are suppressed and these are going into unconscious mind or unconscious impulsiveness, or to keep those impulses away from being expressed. So unsuccessfully resolution of conflict result in abnormal behavior. That means जब आप कुछ आपकी unwanted feelings है, unwanted desire है which cannot be fulfilled to the norms of the society, so you can suppress that feelings, and these feelings are arise the conflict, and ultimately the conflict is converted into abnormal behavior and showing in the symptoms of abnormal behavior or symptoms of mental problems. So analysis of forgetting and mispronunciation is the symbol of it. Whenever you forget something, it is surely connected with your unconscious mind. You can forget anything, that means it is show your unconscious problems. Or mispronunciation, it is also a symbol of unconscious things. So jokes and dreams provide us with a means to approach the unconscious. So Freud developed a therapeutic procedure called psychoanalysis. The basic goal of psychoanalytical therapy is to bring the repressed unconscious materials consciousness. So these are the basically a level of consciousness. First one is conscious. Second one is pre-conscious, then unconscious. So unconscious is very important for psychological point of view. So unconscious stored the unfulfilled desire and unfulfilled feelings, and Freud used a technique which is known as psychoanalysis. This is basically a therapy which he used for bringing the unconscious material conscious. He used the technique for bringing the unconscious material come into the conscious level. So this is a technique. Now move to the structure of personality. As we know about the level of consciousness, there is a structure of personality also, which is 3 in number: id, ego and superego. So according to Freud theory, the primary structural element of personality are id, ego and superego. They reside in the unconscious as forces, and they can be inferred from the way people behave. Let us remember the id, ego and superego are concepts, not real physical structure. We will discuss these terms in some detail. So first of all, id. It is the source of a person's instinct energy. It deals with immediate gratification of primitive needs. That means it behaves just like a child. It is only work as a principle of gratification of their need. For example, sexual desire and aggressive impulsive. So it works on the pleasure principle. It works as a child, which assume that people seek pleasure and try to avoid pain. The principle is known as pleasure principle, which is basically responsible for avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. And Freud considered much of a person instinctual energy to be sexual and the rest as aggressive. It does not care for moral values, society or other individuals. It is not value for these type of things. For example, morality and social norms, values. They don't consider these things. Second is ego. It grows out of id and seeks satisfy an individual's instinctual needs accordance with reality. So basically ego is follow a principle which is known as reality principle. That means it gratifies the need of id in a socially acceptable manner. It works by reality principle and often directs the id towards more appropriate way of behaving. For example, the id of a boy who wants an ice cream cone tell him to grab the cone and eat it. His ego tells him that if he grabs the cone without asking, he may be punished. So, working on the reality principle, the boy knows that the best way to achieve gratification is to ask for permission to eat the cone. Thus, while the id is demanding unrealistically and works according to pleasure principle, the ego is patient, reasonable and work by the reality principle. That means ego use the techniques to fulfill the gratification of need which is arising in id. Now, last concept is superego. The best way to characterize the superego is to think of it as the moral branch of mental functioning. So, basically, superego is work as a moral principle or social principle. Okay. So, the superego tell the id and the ego whether gratification in a particular instant is ethical or not ethical. And it helps control the id by internalizing the parental authority through the process of socialization. That means superego is play a role as a guidance or authority person, and it regulate or instruct the id for his gratification. For example, if a boy sees and wants an ice cream cone and asks his mother for it, his superego will indicate that his behavior is morally correct. So, this approach towards obtaining the ice cream will not create guilt, fear or anxiety in the boy. So, basically the understanding and correlation between these three aspects, the id, the ego and the superego, is basically determined our structure of personality and as well as our level of consciousness. So, thus in terms of individual functioning, Freud thought of the unconscious as being composed of three competing forces in some people. The id is stronger than the superego, in other it is superego. The relevant strength of the id, ego and the superego determines each person's stability. So, Freud also assumed that id is energized by two instinct forces, which we will discuss in later part. So, that means id is working through a pleasure principle. That means it only focuses on fulfillment of their needs. And ego is a mediator or a balancing body which is try to balance between superego and id. The superego is work on morality principle and it is as a play a role as a parent. Okay, and it instruct the id or ego towards the work. Now move to the instinct. So Freud believed there is two type of instinct also, which helps to ego to balance these three. So basically these two instinct, the life instinct and death instinct, basically the forces of id. So life instinct, that means a creative force, creative force or a generative force, and that instinct which is something withdrawal or disturbing or something destroyed force. So this is basically two forces of our id, and the forces is also the energy of these forces is also known as libido. The id is called libido, and it works on the pleasure principle and seeks immediate gratification. So libido is an energy who energize the id for instincts, and in human beings the life instinct is more important, and it is more focused on more on life. And another two concept of psychodynamic or psychoanalysis approaches: ego defense mechanism and the development of personality or stages of personality development, which we will cover in next video. Now let's summarize today's video. So we had started from Allport's theory of trait, and the important concept of Allport theory is cardinal traits, central traits and secondary traits. After that, Cattell's personality factor, which has two important terms, source trait and surface trait, and the important question here is 16 PF. After that, Eysenck theory of trait, which have the three pillars or three dimensions, which are neuroticism versus emotionally stable, extroversion versus introversion, and psychotism versus sociability. And after Eysenck theory, we had started the psychodynamic approach, the concept of hypnosis given by Freud, and after that, levels of consciousness, which have three levels: the conscious level, pre-conscious level and unconscious level. After that, structure of personality, which has id, ego and superego. Id work on pleasure principle, ego work on reality principle, and superego work from moral principle or morality principle. There is also a two type of instinct, life instinct and death instinct, and basically human beings are more focused on life instinct, and there is an energy of id is known as libido. Now our today's topic is completed, and this is time for homework. So in homework, you have to do activity 2.2 in page number 33, chapter 2, page number 33, the activity 2.2, which is: if you were asked to change one aspect of your personality, what would you like to change and why? If not, then why? And which aspect of your personality would you never want to change? Write a paragraph and discuss with a friend. So this is your homework. You have to write an essay of your personality, which part which you want to change and which part which you never want to change. Okay, you have to find this aspect of your personality. Okay class, this is all about today's class. Now, I had already taught you about trait approach and type approach. So your homework is write a paragraph or a comparative study about trait approach and type approach. Find out some similarities between these two and find out some differences between these two. The characteristic of trait approach and the characteristic of type approach. Okay. Another homework is now you have already understand the concept of self and personality. So write a meaning of self and write a meaning of personality and try to find out some relationship between these two. Okay class, thank you. And be prepared for next class, and which we will discuss the ego defense mechanism, which is very interesting, and the development of personality.